So now when the senses, then how can the senses distract me from practicing Shunya? Because they wander. The best example is the mind. Mind as a sense organ. Do you think it wanders? The thoughts? One thought come, going there. Another thought come, going there. Everywhere. You let loose of the reins. Where will they go? They will go everywhere. You understand? Because all sense organs will pull them away. So then it gets scattered. So it is very important to bring them and focus. Okay, so that we can continue our journey. So very good morning to everyone. We have gathered again on a Tuesday. We have a special day today. It's a what we call it, the holy day. Yeah. So we in India, we celebrate this as a festival of colors. And if you remember last session we did on Tuesday, we were talking about the 5 obstacles that help us from practicing Shunya and progressing in the path of practice of Shunya. And the first one among that was sensual desire. And if you see, as Dhruv pointed out, that I have changed that sensual desire to sensual pleasure. Yes, because desire is something that you want, but it's the pleasure that keeps us engaged in that desire. Okay, so the senses are always engaged in their subjects, they want to get engaged with them. And it is very important that because they get lost in their subjects, we tend to not focus on the main aim of making sure that the mind is able to achieve the stillness and stability that we expect it to, so that the thoughts that come on in the mind, that keep on disturbing the mind, does not happen. So today's topic is the first among the 5 series that we will be covering on the obstacles that prevent us from our practice of Shunya. And the first one, being the sensual pleasures. So we will start the teaching, and today's topic is how do these sensual pleasures, the seeking of the senses, and how they actually seek their pleasures, their subjects. So we need to understand that. So let's first understand how many senses we have. 5. Okay, yes. So we have 5 senses. Okay, the sense of smell, and we have the organ for that is nose. Then we have the sense of sight, and the organ for that is the eyes. Then we have the sense of touch, and we have the organ that is the skin. Then we have the sense of hearing, and for that we have the organ called ears. And then the sense of taste, for which we have the organ called the tongue. Now these basically are the organs that through which we experience the world, right? So usually people think there are only 5 senses, because that's what we've been told. There are 5 senses because there are sense organs. Okay. Then recently when I was also studying with Dr. Lim, and I got to know that there is one more sense organ which I missed, and that was the 6th sense organ. And I was like, 6th sense, I always felt it was something to do with intuition, or something to do with, you have that feeling kind. But no, ancient masters of ours had found out there was another sense organ which is basically not anatomically defined, because it's completely, in your self, the whole body. It takes the whole body. It doesn't limit itself to one part. So that 6th sense organ is basically your mind. Okay, and the subject of that is thoughts. So the mind and its thoughts, like the nose and its smell. Okay, so there is good smell and bad smell, right? There are good words and bad words, right? Then there is good taste and bad taste. There is good touch and bad touch, right? And there are good things that you can see, and there are bad things you see. So there are good thoughts and bad thoughts. So very important. Okay. So people don't understand between good and bad in that realm. But who defines the good and bad? Okay, very important to understand. When we say good thoughts and bad thoughts, they are relative. Okay, so for us to understand that these five sense organs are basically also governed by the sixth sense organ, because it's the nose with the mind you have an experience, is the ears with the mind you have the hearing experience, yeah? Is the eyes with the mind you have. So a person could be seeing something but his mind is lost somewhere. Even though he's seeing, he cannot see, right? You understand? The noise is there, but he's lost somewhere. Then you have to, hey, I'm calling you. Can you hear me? Because he cannot hear because his mind is lost. So the sense organ with its subject, the sense and the mind, they need to be all aligned to get an experience. Okay, so the mind is engaged with all the five. Now, does that ring a bell? Something very symbolic, very, very, in the ancient times, this was shown and depicted as five sense organs with their reins. Okay, those reins through which you hold these five sense organs, right? These five horses are basically the sense organs. So they hold, these horses are held by the reins. Okay, and then there is this charioteer who sits on it and pulls these horses, because it's both ways. The horses are also pulling and the charioteer also has to pull, but properly, right? So he knows where to pull them and where to get them to work, and the best experience is when all the five sense organs, they go aligned in one direction. If they all go different direction, the charioteer has to manage to make them all together, right? Sometimes he needs to use even a whip. He sometimes uses a whip, sometimes he, makes sure he pulls hard, sometimes he has to lose this one. He needs to manage that. So that is what the intellect does, right? You should have that much awareness and intelligence to know how to manage your horses, but through the reins of the mind. Okay, imagine the mind itself is too elastic. You're pulling, is it going to work? No. If it's very, very hard, like, it's like very tough, it's not going to pass on the real, very subtle senses, right? So it needs to be adequate, sufficient. So we always say in Sunya that we exert sufficiently, not extremely, not very, very lightly. You need to exert sufficiently depending on the situation, right? When there is a rough road, you can run fast. When the road is slippery, if you run fast, you'll slip. It's your common sense. So your running depends on the conditions that are available. So every decision you make, everything you do, you engage your senses, it should be with complete awareness. Okay, and for that, because if you cannot do that, it will be very difficult for us to practice Shunya. Because in Shunya, when we do reverse count, we are actually learning to align our horses, the five senses, and the mind in one direction, letting the intellect connect it, right? So that is why we see the breath going in, out. We don't say don't listen, we can still hear the sounds. Yeah, we don't tell you to close your eyes and roll up your eyes and go into blackout. We tell you to look at one point. So your eyes are seeing but not moving. Your ears are listening but not going there. Your body is fixed in one position. All this is being done so that all of your five senses and the mind, which is actually engaged in the counting, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, it's doing that, and there is somebody who's monitoring all that, right? Yeah, somebody is checking, hey, you went wrong, you missed the count, mind that you do it properly, okay, don't lose. Then we are trying to get things in order. Once they all get in order, we get used to bringing things in order. Yeah. Then our dispersed senses, the horses that move here and there, now are being tied up to the chariot. The mind, that is the rein, is now perfectly aligned with the now intellect that you have cultivated. The awareness is now holding on to the reins, okay? And now your journey begins into experiencing. And you see the same world in a very, very different way because you experience it in a different way. Because we see the world with our experiences. So very, very important that the practice of Shunya is going to be for aligning our 5 sense organs, okay, which are hungry to go out and explore the world. Okay, have you seen a newborn child? When not a newborn child, you can say a child who is just 4-5 years old. Suddenly you put him in front of a glass, a mirror. He starts doing this. Oh, he does this. He's thinking, what is this? What did I get? He knows this is something I have achieved. Then he'll start making faces. He's doing something like that. He's amazed with that thing that is there, and he knows that that's something that he is there. Over a period of time, we forget that, we forget. The child becomes so mature that assumes that everything is he. Okay, but you are here in the chariot to gain an experience, okay, traveling with the horses, controlled by your intellect, which in turn needs the reins to manage that. So all in all, it's a combination of many things. There's not a single thing, separate. So now when the senses, then how can the senses distract me from practicing Shunya? Because they wander. The best example is the mind. Mind as a sense organ. Do you think it wanders? The thoughts? One thought come, going there. Another thought come, going there. Everywhere. You let loose of the reins. Where will they go? They will go everywhere. You understand? Because all sense organs will pull them away. So then it gets scattered. So it is very important to bring them and focus. Okay, so that we can continue our journey. We can continue the purpose that we are setting ourselves for. That is why many people don't understand, our practice of Shunya is simple, but the effect is so profound. First, when you get things in order, the whole journey becomes easy. Right or wrong? Because you put your stuff in your bag, you just dump it. Then when you go and somebody say, can you give me this? Oh, 1 minute. Then you keep on hunting and searching. Then you go again, hunt and search. But imagine if you have orderly kept everything and then somebody asks you, yeah, I have this here. Exactly. So the whole confusion and chaotic mind, when it is now systematically able to process information, experienced by the senses, it is able to give you a better experience of life. Okay. And that is the power of Shunya. Now, that means, what should I do? Today, remember the first example that Buddha gave was about water. Water is transparent, clear. The first he said is sensual desires. Okay. So how does that get clouded? With different colors. So today is Holi, So this is the best example. Today we celebrate everything we color everybody, right? Now imagine everybody is colored. And today if you look at it, you don't know who is who. Because,
today I saw someone was clicking their picture. Hey, is that me?
Exactly.
They themselves don't believe that it is me.
Yeah, because you're colored. So if you're colored, then it is very difficult, So now that means the whole view towards life, if it's clouded with all these senses and their experiences, then you're not able to see life clearly. Because you have the desire to eating sweet, even though your blood sugar has gone high and you have been diagnosed as borderline diabetic, at that moment, you forget it. You don't see that. You eat one gulab jamun. You eat one sweet. You understand? It's your senses taking a decision. The horses are now pulling the reins more than you are able to pull. You understand? That means you have let loose the rein. Once you let loose the rein, the horse is going to go away. You understand? This is not that you have tied them up. It is all on the reins. If your reins are loose, horse gone. Understood? Gone, finish. Your chariot is now going to collapse. Now suddenly you are not able to drive properly, not able to do anything properly. Suddenly, because now the balance has gone for a toss. So we say there are 3 yogas, when it comes up to the senses. Ati Yoga, you should never do something more than what is required. You should know to strike the right balance, okay? So you don't pull the reins too hard that the horses stop, completely stop, okay? Or you don't let them too loose that they run away, okay? You need to hold them perfectly, sufficiently, okay? So no Ati Yoga, no Heen Yoga, means letting loose, no Mithya Yoga. Mithya Yoga means just, not even holding on to it, leaving it, not even caring about it. Absolutely you're doing something opposite, okay? Having an elastic rein or something, coming up with something weird which doesn't even make sense. So that is Mithya Yoga. So we never do too much, too little, or absolutely something wrong with your sense organs, right? So now, for example, your eyes. Eyes are meant to see. But if you torture your eyes too much, one day they will get handicapped. People in old age, they need a stick to walk because they have walked all their life. They cannot walk any further, so they take a stick to walk. Okay. Same happen with your eyes. If you torture it, what you need? It gets handicapped. Then you need, yes or no? Specs. Yeah, you need that. The wheelchair for the eyes. They problems in the ear. Then they need a hearing aid. Right or no? Then everything, everything needs then something for you to have an enhanced experience. So similarly, these sense organs are very, very important, and you need to know how to take care of these 5 horses and their reins through awareness, and that can be cultivated by. So in Sunya, what are we getting? We're getting the basically the charioteer. We are training him to perform his duty well, so that we who are sitting in the chariot have a better experience. Okay. Now, Buddha also gave a beautiful example. Now, what you see on screen is what? A log of wood, right? You see that? The log of wood, it's floating. Because we understand, yeah, we have a sensual world. We have to experience this world through the senses. You cannot just cut off your senses and live. But in this world, Buddha said, how do you manage your senses? He says, like a log of wood that floats in a river. Okay? It should be within the banks, between the 2 banks of the river, 2 borders of the river. It should float in between that. If the log of the wood floats towards the corner, if a turn comes, it gets blocked there, and it will never be able to go further, right? It will either go outside. What if the water rises? It will be thrown out. What if it goes down? It will get stuck somewhere, So it should never be at the border. It should go in between when the river is flowing. Very, very important. When it goes in between, when the river is flowing, it can travel very, very nicely. And where does the river go? To the sea. That's where your liberation is. The river's liberation is when it mixes with the sea, right? Yes. So when your senses are managed well, like a floating wood, okay, floating in a flowing river, not towards the banks of the river, not to the borders, okay, but in the middle path, okay, going smoothly, sailing all the way till it actually goes and merges with the sea. That's how you should be managing your senses, sensual experiences. No point in cutting it off. You have to experience the world, but in the right way. So it's very important that you understand that my senses, I need to balance. Okay. So if you don't know how to balance, then it becomes a problem. Then the next question comes, what is balance? People think doing everything equally is balance. But the picture that I'm showing you, do you think it's in balance? It's in balance. So the log is balanced or not? This, yes. But do you think both sides have equal things? Yeah. They are being balanced in the right way so that there is equilibrium. So what to do when? You need to have that much awareness. You just cannot say this is it. No, you should be relative. You should be able to sense that this is where I have to strike the balance. And my balance, I need to do that permutation, combination to get things right. We are not telling people don't do the balance. You cannot be equal and put here and here. Because the world is not perfect. Because the world is not perfect, your balance is not going to be perfect. You have to accommodate things so that there is a balance. So you should know, depending on your situation, how much of what you have to do. Okay. Because you have your exams coming, you have to study, you have to do this. Maybe your eyes are going to be used a lot. You will study. Maybe you are a singer, you're going to go for an audition. Maybe you will be singing. Maybe you are a chef, you're making nice dishes. Maybe you'll keep on eating to taste different foods, right? Everybody needs to know what he's using his senses for. And if he can know that and he can strike a balance, nothing like it. So very, very important that you need to know that. And the most important part other than that is you all need to know that these sense organs are nothing but the part of the body. And they are going to disintegrate one day. We are today this body. My eyes, our sight is someday going to go weak. my eyes are also going to go away. My ears, my hearing is also going to go weak. My senses, okay, my taste, right? My smell, everything is going to go weak. That means one day my thoughts will also get weak. My mind will also get weak. Yes or no? That means if these all are one day going to get weak, what am I having an attitude for? Who am I? The chariot is one day going to be dismantled. It's going to be all lying there, we call the white bones. We are nothing but just a bunch of white bones that will lie down there to disintegrate further and become soil again. You see, in the Indian ritual, when somebody dies, they put them in the log of woods, like a log. Okay, then they burn them like the woods you burn. No difference. The logs are burning, the man is burning. Both same burning. After burning, the logs become into ash. The man becomes into ash. You take them, put them into a small pot. That's it, what you're left with. One pot you take and put it into water. Gone. Everything. That's what you are. Always remember. So your pleasures, your for your sexual pleasures, your pleasures for sensual pleasures, maybe for eating, drinking, losing yourself, these are all pleasures that the mind and the five sense organs also seek for. And you should be always aware how much of what you're going to do. If you are able to do that, then you are able to manage a lot of things, and you are able to bring your mind and your five sense organs in the act that you want to engage. See, you're going to engage in this world, and this world will definitely need you to participate in it. Okay, you will. How do you participate? Without your five sense organs? Without your mind? Do you exist without your five sense organs and mind? No. We need those five sense organs. We need the mind. The most important thing, we need them all aligned. What is focus? Focus is getting everything aligned. And isn't that what we tell in Sunya we have to do? Sunya, we say that we want focus. Focus comes when we align these five horses, the mind, all in one direction, at one thing. Okay, so very, very important that we see the practice of Shunya as aligning our senses. So, how do we now manage to get these senses to, the sensual desire that we have? Because desire is from the mind. The mind whispers to the senses, there it is. Go and get it. The sense organ says, okay, I'll go and get it. Okay, it starts pulling the reins. Okay, and one who is not aware, he's going to let loose of the reins. And then there it is. The horse runs away. You understand? The guns away. Then after some time, where did my horse go? Then the horse ran away because you are not aware. Okay, so you should be, the key is awareness. So that is why when we practice Shunya, when we do 9, 8, 7, then suddenly somebody is calling, then your ears go there. The mind says, I think, your mother is calling you, very something urgently. No, but sir told me to finish my practice. Okay, no, but your mother is important now. What sir is important? Yeah. Then, okay. Then you open the eye, finish, go on. You understand? The same thing, I think, I have to practice. Suddenly your tongue, your mind starts whispering. I think the bell has rung. Your dish has come, the sweet dish that you ordered. You're practicing 29 to 0, long practice. And your sweet dish has come, ting tong. Now you can hear that. And it is the one who I ordered just now, sweet dish. Your tongue has already started, the mouth has started to salivate, Now you're practicing, let me finish my practice, 29, 28. You're doing that. But your mind is whispering, keeping on whispering. You forget your count. Was the taste, it will be good, I think. Like last time it was very tasty. It will be like that only. So it's already started. Now the sense organs are pulling, the mind is pulling, finish. Then you're missing the count. And then say, how did I miss the count? Because your horse and the reins are being pulled. You understand? See, when the horse runs, it runs away with the rein. Because the reins are not loose at the horse's end. They are loose at the one who is holding. You understand? You don't tie the reins to the hand, right, of the charioteer. He has to hold it. So you have to hold your senses. So we always say you have to handle your senses in the right way. Okay. So do everything, we say samyak, means in the right balance. In the right, and balance is again, you need to know what is balance. Appropriately doing things as much as needed, at certain times. When you're very thirsty, you drink 2 glasses of water. But when you're not, why will you dump in 2 glasses of water? Okay, some sense you need to know how to bring and do an act using the your common sense to understand, analyze the situation, and then take an action. Otherwise, it would be very, very difficult. Now coming to the point that, okay, then that means I engage with the world with my senses. I see my senses are the only option that I have, the only medium that I have to see this world and experience the world. And through this world, I perform my duties. Okay, not just for seeking pleasure, because if that is the case, then it doesn't work. Because if you're only doing it to seek pleasure, then you're going to get nothing from it, right? But if it's a purpose-driven experience, a purpose-driven engagement with the society or with your job or with your duty, then engaging the horses for that makes sense, right? So we need to know that these sense organs of mine, in with the reins of my mind, okay, I need to manage them well with my intellect, with my understanding, with my awareness. Okay, and for that I need to cultivate the eye of vipassana. Now you understand why vipassana is very important. Samatha is to bring the everything in balance. Horses aligned, the reins perfectly in hand, and then you are now using vipassana to now see things clearly. So then you can ask, once that you have cultivated the eye, then whatever your vow is, whatever you have aimed for, you can go towards it. You understand? Then your journey begins. Actually, your journey begins only then. Okay? So senses, the five senses, their boss, the mind, the whisperer, the silent whisperer. Okay? It's not bad. Remember this. Okay? The good thoughts and the bad thoughts. People say, okay, positive thoughts and negative thoughts. So positive thoughts and negative thoughts, they will come. But who will know that there are positive thoughts and negative thoughts? Same, it doesn't know. There is somebody who knows, and that is your intellect, your awareness. Okay, no, this is not right at this moment. And we use one very important tool or method to judge whether the sensual experience is right or wrong, whether it is appropriate at this time or not. And they are our Panchashil. There comes your Panchashil. So when I say I shall not do harm, if these five senses are not doing harm to me or to anybody, then that's good. But if I'm torturing these senses, I'm torturing somebody else because of that, then that is not right. Okay? Then I shall not take something that does not belong to me. So similarly, when these sense organs, they are not taking something that does not belong to me, okay, then it is right. Very, very important. So then I shall not disturb the harmony of the society or the family. So when these sense organs do not do that, then it is right. Okay, when I shall not make false claims. Okay, these sense organs can actually tempt you to make even false claims, So don't do that. If it started to do that, okay, you know that this is wrong because it's not what I should be doing appropriately right now. You know that, you sense it. And when you sense that, you make a false claim. No, I like to travel because that is what I always blah, 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 and all those things. But you don't have money in your bank. You're borrowing money from this. Your father is sick in the hospital and you're talking about pleasure. How can you forget your duty? You're a son. Your father is in the hospital. Go there. Take care of him. Your bank has no money in your account. Go and work for it. You cannot say, I want to let go. I want to go and do this thing. Okay, go to this Baba's ashram, there will I get peace. Use some common sense, When you have achieved and taken care of your responsibilities, then your journey towards peace will begin. You cannot just sit, hang out your shoes and say, now I want to experience peace. First, do your duty, So, even making false claims is wrong, okay? Then I shall not intoxicate myself. And that's where sensual desires or pleasures, they are most vulnerable. They intoxicate themselves. You like something, it likes it, keeps on asking. The same thing again. Okay, something sometimes become kind of a program that runs continuously. Okay, and then we say, why are you getting hooked into one thing, You're doing too much, destroying yourself. So these five, Panchashilas, they become the basis on which you make sure that you're sensual experience is not, it should be pleasurable. It should give you that feeling of content rather and happiness. Your happiness should be backed up with content. Oh, that's enough. Not over flooded, or I was discussing yesterday, when doctor gave me the example of the wood log floating in the river. I said, yes, doctor, that makes sense, because when the water is appropriate flowing in the river, fantastic. When it is nothing, nobody is going to come into that river also to look in. So no flowing water also problem. More than that, it will drown everything around it. It should be right. So your experience of things with your senses should be right. So even when you know that, then you are able to manage this obstacle. See, obstacle can obstruct you if you don't see it. If you see it, then you navigate, you can jump it, you can do anything. But if you don't know, that becomes a problem. So there are these 5 obstacles, and now when we start seeing them, when knowing them, oh, don't worry, they are no more an obstacle. They become one more little challenging experience for us to jump over it and then continue a journey of practice of Shunya. So very, very important. So this brings us to the end. I think we need to call it a day. So thank you so much, and see you all again. Okay, bye-bye.